Hello. The positioning patch notes are finally out. So, we just gotta check it out. I tried to be thorough, but also like keep it going. So, of course, we know about the new board and move history, the history, new card laying mechanic, the positioning, of course. Card positioning has taken on new dimensions. Players can now choose exactly where in a row to play their cards, and many abilities now refer to a card's relative position on the row. Taunt system, these are the emotes. So Thunder Potion changed from, well, it doesn't matter what it changed from. It's changed to 4 power plus 2 free adjacent units. That's pretty good. The Meditative Bomb is the debuff. Reset the base strength of 5 adjacent units. Commando Horn is 4 base strength to 5 adjacent units. Geralt Dart changed to ranged and can aim at the melee and the range row now, and it only affects 3 adjacent units. So, and it of course affects all known gold units among them. So if you place a gold in the middle of like 2 bronzes, for example, then the gold will not fly off in the back row. So this is actually a considerable nerf to Geralt Dart, because instead of just choosing the units you want to get rid of, you can only get rid of 3 adjacent ones. So this might just make Geralt Dart complete garbage. First light changed to fleeting. Clear skies or rally, go to the graveyard instead. This is actually mostly a relevant change in most factions, but could be a very relevant change in Scoia'tael with Glaze. You can just rally 3 times and just hope to play your clear skies anyway. And against the monster player, they might just even if you use a clear sky, they might just griffin your only clear sky you actually played, and you're screwed. So, but in most cases, this should be mainly irrelevant. So, Field to the Marshal, Agitator now counts as a token spawn unit, and now has fleeting tag. So, it really doesn't matter, you're just gonna lose it when it gets removed from the battlefield. Same thing for the Field Marshal Duda. These are, of course, summoned by the Zoltan Animal Trainer. Same thing for Unicorn, which is summoned by Yennefer, and Chiron next as well. Roach is now summoned before Chiron's abilities resolve. Roach's interaction was a bit inconsistent before. He sometimes showed up before, sometimes later. Now they obviously want Roach to interrupt in a way. You want to place the gold, but Roach comes out before that. So, for example, Virga Force can burn down Roach, and Chiron can eat Roach as well if that is what you want to do. And Witchers got nerfed from 667 to 557, I believe. But this positioning patch notes are a little bit all over the place. Evidence that this clear skies now removes all weather effects on the battlefield. That will not really affect single weather decks that were also better in the previous patch. This only affects multiple weather decks that use Ragnarok, that I believe got nerfed as well to complete garbage. So yeah, I mean, like, this just gets rid of the multi-weather decks. I don't know if this was needed. Cyprian Vili now only deals 3 damage to an opposing non-god unit, no effect when removed from the board. I just don't get this card. I'm like, his change also, I also ran through this change a little bit. His strength also changed from 5 to 7, so he's a 7 power card that deals 3 damage, 3 base damage. Base damage is an important distinction, so he can actually banish a Roach, for example. But other than that, he's crap. He's a 10-point silver. So, unless you really want to do base damage, but not really sure you would want to do that. Like, maybe this could be a thing if, like, everybody has a Roach And Skellige really likes buffing base damage, and I do expect we'll get to it in the boardroom change. Is that, well, we get to it actually. My point is, removing buffs will be even more available. So Ciri Dash strength change from 9 to 8. I don't know. Like, she didn't get too much use. I mean, like, other than the discard Skellige. I'm like, fair enough. But if she sees a lot of use, that kind of means the game is broken in a way. Because if your opponent like draws through their whole deck and plays Ciri, then draws into Ciri next turn, then draws into Ciri the turn after that because they just burn through their whole deck. I don't know. Maybe that should be a thing, but they're definitely doing something, and they're completely eliminating the randomness from their deck. So if that deck is any good in the meta, that will be very popular because it eliminates the draw RNG. That just loses you a lot of games. But if it's no good, then Ciri Dash is crap as well. So anyway, Stab of Force Tremors now deal 2 damage to 6 random opposing non-gold units if available. So obviously your opponent needs to have 6 units available for this to work. And obviously this seemed to work the best with, for example, X-Men that benefit from multiple hits, for example. Because I would think that, for example, Manticore Venom dealing 4 damage to 3 adjacent units would be more reliable than hoping that they have 6 units, 6 opposing non-gold units. So Thunder Potion no longer gives Witcher additional buff, or Swallow, so that Witcher synergy is a little bit out. I don't know how I feel about that. It wasn't too important anyway. So the Dimeritium Shackles now lock units they affect but do not reset them to base strength. Then that also affects gold units. So every faction now equally has access to gold counters, or possibly other counters that you might want to lock. Obviously, great targets are Villain and Yennefer the Conjurer. But how good the Shackle will be? Good question. I suspect there may be an overreaction to it early on, but I wouldn't be surprised if like a one-off. Wouldn't be surprised to see a one-off in most decks in the following meta. In the positioning patch, Renew can no longer resurrect permadeath units. That's interesting. So those type of units that are permadeath, which is also gonna be Villain Threat and Mert, we will read about that. You just have to consider like when you're like wanna include Renew in your deck. So those cheese units that could define your strategy, you just can't like replay twice. It's actually not a huge change, but it just allows the devs to make sure that some possibly problematic cards only play once. Masters and spawned units now appear to the right of the summoning card positioning. That's fine enough. So that's basically what it says. So you gotta keep that in mind. Gwent now protects from changes to base strength. Interesting. When Gwent works in a way that you need to select the guy on the board or in your hand, and that unit and every other type of unit like that will get the shield. So you can potentially just Gwent all the Neckers and they're immune to base strength reduction? How would that work? That would mean that they're immune to Lacerate as well? I'm not sure. Trace Marigold can no longer target gold units. Lame. Magnetic Venom now lets you choose 3 adjacent units and deal damage to non-gold units among them. Positioning. Yeah, that's it. Like, you can deal up to 12 damage, which is pretty good. All abilities that lock units can also be used to unlock units. Note that unlocking does not bring back tokens the unit had before being locked. Exceptions, Radovid, Assassination. So you can use your little lock to unlock a guy. It sounds a little bit ridiculous, but it does not upgrade a unit. So for example, if your Villain Trottenbert gets locked, and then if you unlock it, I'm pretty sure it doesn't go back to gold. You would just have a Villain Trottenbert, a silver Villain Trottenbert that with a potentially activating ability. It's just ticking down, but you might just get killed. The Blizzard Potion is now a choice card. You choose between 2 cards, one applying weather immunity and the other removing it. It's basically the same thing as before, they just made it more elegant. Instead of it toggles weather immunity, it just it has 2 effects that does it. Rally now draws the top bronze unit in your deck. It's basically irrelevant in most cases, but if you know the top bronze unit in your deck, for example, you can set up with Stefan. Just as you could do it with Emissary, you could just make sure that if you know the drop, if you know because you put it there, or you know because you play the Morven, and Morven doesn't shuffle your deck anymore, so you know that you have a Nilfgaard knife coming up, so you know that you're gonna get that with Rally. I don't know, it's basically random if you don't know what's coming up, but if not, it's kind of cool. It's a cool interaction. So the Field Marshals are 1 strength now and affect 4 spaces to the left. And they do 2 buff each or 2 damage each. Cleaver strength changed from 5 to 6. Fair enough, so he's the guy who locks, but he can affect gold ones. So you gotta be smarter about that. Johnny now banishes the choosing card instead of putting it at the bottom of your deck. Now that's pretty interesting because now you can't really use it with Roach, or so that interaction is out, and you can also just make sure that you have 1 more gold. So that made Johnny a lot weaker. In many cases it will be the same card, but in some cases it definitely made him more situational. He wasn't too great anyway, because you get a random card. But, I don't know. So Cyprian value changed from 5 to 7, we talked about this. So, do you really want to use a 7 power guy who does 3 base strength? Possibly because of the Roach. I mean, the general usefulness of Roach just makes Cyprian Wiley maybe. And he could also be really good against the buffing decks because he does like but let's just compare him to like the Shieldsmith guy that has 5 strength and does 2 buffs. So he has 7 strength and does 3 negative. I don't know. Maybe. It's mainly good against Roach. It's really good against Roach, but So Ragnarok now removes 2 base strength from 8 random opposing non-gold units. But even if you do it against Roach, they already got 3 value out of Roach and the deck thinning. So they are looking forward to 6 more value in the next turn. Possibly more if they are like, for example, they have a Vilga Force and he would burn it down and he would play another card. But at most they are looking forward to 9. But more realistically, 6 or even like 3 because they're gonna play only 1 gold unit. So 6 is generous, but even if he cutting with 6, he's a 13 point. If he burns down Roach every single time in the first round, I'm like, just, I don't know. No. I don't see this guy being used. Ragnarok now removes 2 base strength from 8 random opposing non-gold units. So it's basically the same thing as where is it? Stammelford Tremors now deal 2 damage to 6 random opposing non-gold units. So this could hit 2 more targets. And to me that looks like complete garbage. Because getting value from the Stammer for Tremor will be hard. And Ragnarok is a gold card that hits only 2 more times. And even more situational. I mean, it just looks complete garbage to me. And looks like they have the same wording, so you're not hitting a random minion 8 times, but you're hitting 8 minions random, 8 random minions, so 8 random instead of a random minion 8 times, but 8 random minions for 2. So Mardra Mutagen now resets target to base strength, increased by 2 relative to its initial value. So I don't know how prevalent Mardrums will be, because it got buffed when it had 3 in it, as in the early stages of the PTR. I basically said abandon all hope of buffing anything up. But with this, it will be still okay, because it only serves, especially if you're running strong base strength units, you can use this as a Scorch to just, well, not exactly like a Scorch, but imagine like playing against an Ambassador, for example. They play the Ambassador, it buffs up by 12, and now you play a Mordrum, and it just hits them for 14 points. That's not so bad. And if they have even bigger buffs, it could even be bigger. And you can also use it to reset your guys in the weather. So if you, for example, have a Nilfgaardian Knight, and Knight has, of course it had 9, actually it had 11 points, and I got reduced to 1, so you can just Mordrum the guy, and he gains 12 points. He goes up to 13. And we are talking about thin value here. Just one guy who's standing in the weather, or one guy who got buffed up, that's thin value. If you're talking about like a ridiculously buffed up guy who gets Mordrum, that's really bad. Or a ridiculously strong guy with base strength who's just standing in the weather and gets buffed up, and now he's just back to his base strength, and the opponent needs to play a weather again. And you only needed, well, I don't know, it looks pretty good. Maybe it would be hard to make it work in every deck, but I do expect to see this card more often. This is actually removal. This you can use it defensively and offensively, and as long as this is in the meta, I don't see buff being a thing. Ever. Because this can just crush buffers. Of course, if you have nothing to do, then it's just a 2-point swing, which is not great. But even if you take any damage, and the guy gets back for Scoia'tael, I mean, probably we're gonna see this card played with Scoia'tael. We just have to see. So Villain Change now has permadeath tag, so he can be resurrected with the Renew, and Strength Change from 7 to 4. And I'm really happy about this, because Villain was the key card of many decks in the past, and I don't think a neutral legendary should be. I mean, like, of course we all want Villain to be a cool guy, to be cool, but it was just, if it's the main win condition of like Radovid or the Scoia'taels, I mean, like, and even Hansel, then yeah, there's a problem there, and I'm really happy with this change. Even with the lock, it might be even get even more screwed with the lock, so we just have to see. I would rather see them like a little bit, make him a bit weaker than it should be, than just have multiple decks run it as their key win condition. Like, that just doesn't make sense. I'm like, if you're like running an Imbralit as your key win condition, I'm like, I won't say a word, you know? That's a faction card. Fair enough. Make that work. And you need to make that work with other cards, but Villain didn't work like that. He worked by itself, it was fine by itself, and it was a neutral, so I don't like it that much. So Yennefer got a little bit nerfed. Still gonna be awesome with Scoia'tael. It's still gonna be an awesome choice if you're just looking for a good budget card, and it's gonna be really good still. So I don't know. And luck will be a thing. So luck could shut her down. So if your opponent plays this and you lock it right away, yeah, it's okay. So it's probably gonna worth it. It's even gonna be kind of a break even because they got 4 points. You used up your bronze. I mean, the difference between the golds and bronze is not exactly 4 points. Kind of depends, but it's not too far off. Of course, that is the worst case scenario if she gets locked right away. I don't believe that opponents will run that many locks. But even if she gets locked, it's not the end of the world. And other gold cards, if get locked, like MacLeod, like, it's not, it's not really great for them. Because I believe MacLeod has a, well, I'm even talking about the right guy. I'm possibly not. I'm talking about the Scoia'tael guy that just summons free power guys. Well, I'm really bad with names. Anyway. So, Operator's strength changed from 6 to 8. That should make him more widely useful. Because now he really struggled to find a place. I don't know if this guy should be really a that common index. It's seen some play in the previous patch. With the Cantarellas and I don't know, what else? Not much else actually. So maybe he needed this buff. Anyway, Dawn Banner Heavy Cavalry is now promoted at the end of the second turn after being played. Buff or nerf? Depends how you look at it. I would say it's a nerf. Now you can do more with it before he turns to gold, but your opponent can do more with it before he turns to gold as well. And yeah, it's still just a 7 power guy who, well, when he turns to gold. So not that great. Possibly good with gold synergy, but still, I would say it's I would call this probably a nerf. And it's more of a change, but I would consider more a nerf. Philippa changed. Now she gives the option of playing special card from your hand, then drawing a card, which helps thin the deck. And apparently she has now 4 strength. So she's kind of like an Glaze that plays from your hand and also thins your deck. But the Glaze has 1 more strength, so yeah, it's okay. I think Philippa is a good, just, hey, if you don't really have a good idea what to run, Philippa is pretty good. And especially combined with silver special cards, instead of just like, I don't know, playing a rally. Lubberkin, same thing, token and fleeting, botchling, token and fleeting. Field medic strength change from 2 to 4. And that's a big game changer. Instead of just playing like the thinner cards, Northern Realm guys might just play the poor man infantry that actually got changed from 2 to 3. So what I'm saying is that you might play the guys that actually give you good strength instead of just burning through your bronzes as fast as you can. You're not gonna run those, possibly not gonna run those. At least you're gonna have the chance of, like, the option of not running those cards that are just all about just burning through your deck. But you're actually gonna play the bronzes that provide you like 9 strength, or about 9 strength, or 9-8 strength, and you just resurrect them. And you can still run First Light to thin a little bit, but it's just gonna be more power if you want that. It's definitely a good change to Field Medic, makes it more worth it, and obviously doesn't work with a lot of the thinners. So Cadvani Siege Expert will no longer lose strength when units with the machine tug are played. Yeah, Cadvani Siege Expert changed from 5 to 4. Gets killed by Manticore Venom. But that's kinda bad. Death Mode can now banish a card from either graveyard. Why? Why would you banish from your own graveyard? I gotta think about that. You can banish from their graveyard, that's kinda fine. He could be like a Griff. Kind of Griff. Well. Yeah, kinda like a Griff. Griff, but spell now changed from 4 to 6. But he buffs by, I believe, 2. Only. Do you have the information about that? Kero ability change. She now sets the unit on her right strength to that of the unit on her left. Both are known gold. And she's 4 power as well. I'm pretty sure he has 4 strength. This patch note doesn't say. Red will be changed. Now he lets you choose 3 adjacent units, locks, and deals 2 base damage to all known gold units among them. Positioning. So yeah, that's okay. Red is well, you can just delete the foglets if you really wanna. Maybe you wanna, maybe you don't. But Radovic's hero power is not gonna be that bad. I believe he still will be the generous choice. Like, he's pretty good. I mean, if locking will be important, I will see that it probably will be. Because it says, now lets you choose 3 adjacent units, locks, and deals 2 base damage to all known gold units among them. So it actually locks gold units too, but doesn't deal damage to them? At least, that is what I get from this wording. John Natalis now buffs units one after another, meaning he can buff the same unit multiple times. And now he changed from like 5 strength and buff 3 units by 3 to 6 strength to buff 3 to 1. So it's now complete garbage. Why would you ever run it? It's complete garbage. John Natalis, you're a disgrace. And even the previous John Natalis was pretty weak, but I suppose you could have run it as a budget tech. Because it gave you like 14 power, not so great, but it is better than nothing. The extra strength changed from 5 to 1. The extra ability changed, now he plays a gold card from your deck. Yeah, that's okay. Again, this is another interesting thing. Because of Johnny, you can just yeah, the extra is now disloyal. If you're running Dijkstra, you probably wanna run Johnny, or actually, where is it? Taylor? I believe he got buffed as well. Yeah, he got buffed to 8. I'm pretty sure that is the case. Reinforced Trebuchet now changed from 5 to 4. Shoots every turn for 1. So it takes a long time to get value from, but it's not so bad. Especially if combined with the Siege Expert guy. So I don't know, it takes a long time to get value from. If you run these, you definitely want the Siege Experts as well. So, I don't know. Venom Roche can now target units on your side as well. And it doesn't say that it can target golds. Probably that is the case, but most importantly, it can just... you can target some cows if they come in for you. Johnny dropped 1 point. That's perfectly reasonable. John Natalis buff values changed from... Yeah, that's what I said. And strength is... look at that. 6 strength and 3 to 1. That's complete garbage. I'm like... Why wouldn't you run just Witcher Geralt instead? Like... You get 12 points in a gold card instead? Like... And Witcher Geralt is not awesome. By any means. So the Botchling got a little bit buffed. Then the Lion got a little bit buffed so he doesn't get killed. So this doesn't get killed by a Manticore Venom. Priscilla now draws 1 of the cards face down. And that's actually a huge nerf. Because unlike Prince Tennis, for example, you can just choose the priest that is works the same way. Unlike priestess, for example, if you choose the card that's face down, you're just gonna get it. It's okay. But if you choose it with Priscilla, you're gonna play it right away. And playing a random card from your deck could be bad. It could be really bad. It's very much not ideal. So I don't know. I don't know how popular she will be, but it definitely affects her strength a lot, and you would have to be more careful of running situational cards in your Northern Realm deck, because at very least it will make her a bit inconsistent. Sometimes you might just lose the game because you managed to draw into your situational card with Priscilla, and she kind of messed it up, and you lost the game because of that. So, is she still good? I don't know. Like, on average, she will be still okay, but sometimes she will fuck it up. Kinda depends on your deck, how much you go for the situational ones. Triss Butt now adds 2 strength to all known gold units in your hand. Taylor changed from 6 to 8. So, he's a lot more valuable. If you're like... yeah, you can't really expect a whole lot from a silver. It's okay if you have already, for example, it works great with cards that you already used up. Like, of course, Johnny works great with cards that you already used up as well. For example, like you play Siri, and she returns to your hand. If you and of course you can just get it on the card instead of that. Taylor is kind of the same thing, but you get a card from your deck instead. And for example, you can just Trisbot and Alquist, and you're gonna have an 8-power Alquist. And when the Alquist triggers, you can just tailor it. I don't know if this will be a huge thing. I would suspect not so much, but it would at least make him worth considering in the right circumstances. So Johnny won't be your only option if you want to get rid of cards. Poor infantry changed from 2 to 3, so you actually spawn 3 base strength guys, which is pretty good. 9 strength on its own without any combo. It's pretty good. And actually you can just run the... how's it called? Thunderbolt potions in your deck. Fairly reliably with these suckers. And you can just get 12 value every single time. Because, well, they just get played next to each other. And if you play it with the medics as well, you can just Thunderbolt potion 3 times. I don't know, well, not the same ones, obviously. Try not to do that, but I'm just saying, Thunderbolt pushing these guys is not that hard. Of course, you probably don't want to just play 3 and Thunderbolt potion every single one of them. What would be the best is like you play 3, I'm like you play 1 but you get 3, and you Thunderbolt potion the medic and 2 of the poor infantries. So you actually end up with a 8-point medic and 2 7-point poor infantries. So if your opponent has the bright idea of playing a Geralt Igni, he's gonna be a little bit sad. Anyway, monsters. Monster faction ability now can only keep Erdin and units played from your hand, meaning it will not keep mustered, spawned, resurrected, and etc. units. So that's a good change, so you can keep Foglets. Or... well, anything but mustard. So you can only keep cards from your hand. Like that is the easiest way to put it. There's no need to go into it. But the Foglets were the main thing that screwed people over, or just a Necker coming out, or a Spider coming out, and it was like, come on! I had a good guy I wanted to keep, and now I'm screwed. Ren now consumes units on its left, positioning. That's great. Drog changed from 6 to 7. And actually Drog hits 7 times for 1 damage randomly. So he's a 14 power on its own, no combo whatsoever, but if you play Weather, it's just ridiculously dangerous. And 14 power? That's crazy. So he's the best damager of them all. And you can just slam him down and kill an Arquist. That's just insane. I don't know. So he has an excellent interaction with Weather, and he's just excellent points on his own. I'm kind of pissed that I scrapped him because he was garbage. But now, he might just be an auto-include. Especially with the nerf to Weather cards. Remove the breathable tag from Naggers. Fine. Whispers changed from 7 to 6. 7 to 8. Woodland Spirit got buffed by 1, but it only spawns fog on your side now. So that's not really a buff. Unless your opponent doesn't play anything in the range row. So that's the only change to Crones. So they are now 668. They are nerfed by 2 points. And I don't know, the Witchers have a more reasonable power level. I think the Witchers are on the power level that makes sense for playing 3 silvers, and the Crones are just better than that. I don't know. I don't know if they should be better than that. Maybe the Crones should have the same base strength as the Witchers. So if you want to run 2 silver thinners, you can do it as a monster, but not as anything else. That would make sense to me, but because they are still gonna be really good. You play 20 strength plus thin 2 cards. Of course you're thinning silvers, so we're making it more likely that you get bronzes. Like is usually you want to thin your decks to get silvers and golds, but still you're gonna play 20 points, and that's a pretty good power swing. And that's hard to resist. I don't know. I don't know if I can resist it. But the Witchers, playing them for 17, those are kind of easier to resist. Fire Elemental, strength change from 5 to 6, completely irrelevant, it's complete garbage. I don't know, that guy is just complete garbage. And of course he generates 1 point guy every turn. So he would need to generate them for at least like 7 turns, 8 turns to maybe worth it. Of course he would get lasered right away, or at best, like, I don't know. I just don't see how it could ever work out. He's just complete garbage. Cilliano Harpy changed from 3 to 8. I mean 3 to 5. That's a significant buff. And Nitra to 6 to 8. And that might look like a big buff, but because of the changes to Weather, multi-row Weather, I'm pretty sure that the Frostwolf Warriors, Wild Hunt Warriors will be basically unplayable. So you're basically limited to Riders, Imrelit, actually, a Carantir, and Eredin. I mean, pretty much that's it, right? Oh, yeah, I called Isengrim Imrelit earlier. Yeah. I'm not that knowledgeable with the Witcher series. Like, I mostly know about that from Gwent. And actually played the first 2 games and currently playing the 3rd one. But I suppose I know something, but don't know too much about the Vathan story for now. Or Witcher 3 for now. Anyway, Harpy strength changed from 3 to 4. Yeah. I don't know if the Harpies will be any good, but my utter disgust for consume monsters from the previous meta will probably prevent me from finding it out for a while. Imbralit now deals 3 damage to an own gold unit and 1 damage to any non-gold units adjacent to it positioning. So he can't actually target gold units anymore. Nah, nothing can. Drug ability changed, other than Shackles. Drug ability changed now, that we will talk about. That Gas ability changed now, he adds 2 strength to each non-gold unit on your side. So he's just about spamming stuff. Spamming spiders, possibly. And that shouldn't be too hard to disrupt. But if it works out, he just buffs them by 2. And it's gonna be a lot harder to just how's it called? Debomb it? Because at best you can just debomb 5 guys. That's a 10-point swing, and that's not even worth it for a silver. So, yeah, this is just not gonna work out. Golem strength changed from 6 to 7. So the golem is a guy that summons 2 tokens. And that might just help Gals, but that actually puts him up to potentially 9 strength, but you still need to... The golem still needs to die and spawn those tokens. So overall kinda comes up to 9, but if you hold on to the golem, I don't know. Maybe Gals will like the golems, but I very much suspect that others will not really. It's a maybe. Katakan strength changed from 6 to 4. Yeah, Katakan was a little bit too good. I'm kinda surprised that All Spear Tip didn't get changed. Ram Warrior, the guy that eats, changed to 5 to 6. So these are like fairly vulnerable to lasers. Succubus strength changed from 8 to 7. And the interesting part about Succubus is that if you send in Succubus and your opponent locks her, then that's it. She will never trigger and you just gave your opponent 7 strength. So with the recent change to lock, it doesn't matter how strong Succubus is. She can just get locked, and actually she's unplayable. She's just too big of a risk, I would say. Unless the meta really doesn't have any locks in it. But if the meta has locks in it, you just give away 7 strength, and that's just inexcusable for a god. Griffin got buffed by 1. Meh. Yeah, Griffin was situational. Sometimes it worked out, sometimes it doesn't. So maybe. I could see this, yeah, it's okay. And the Woodland Spirit now only spawns fog on your side, so that's okay. That's a big nerf, actually. And he only got 1 strength for that. I don't know. I think it's a bit lame that only spawns fog on your side. So that would be my biggest takeaway. So remove Relentless from the glaze so she can be replayed. Walker Hero now buffs adjacent units positioning. So she's a 4 strength that buffs the 2 adjacent ones by 3. The Ruviel now adds 2 strength to all units within 2 spaces when revealed. So she's a 6 strength that buffs by 2 to her left and right by 2. Walker Smuggler ability now triggers after certain abilities, such as lock, are resolved. Ah, that's interesting. So it doesn't trigger when the ability starts, but when they are resolved. When the special cards are resolved. Malcolm Defender changed from 4 to 5. Resilience now lasts only 1 round, making it more consistent. Smuggler is no longer triggered by gold cards. That's okay. And change from 5 to 4. So it's a big nerf to Smuggler, and she can also get killed by Mardrum. I'm probably not gonna lose 2 Smugglers because the Mardrum, because your opponent would have to do really nothing. I don't know how it would work out. Like, he plays a gold, and you play another Smuggler next to each other. That's just dumb as hell. So, but it can get killed by a Mardrum. I mean, not Mardrum, but Manticore Venom. Saskia could change from 9 to 7. Well, Saskia is just ridiculously good. And Zoltan Chivai strength changed from 5 to 8, and that's kind of a big thing because now you can have a gold card that provides theoretically 16 strength, and that just can be really removed. Of course, your opponent can lock it and rob your like 8 strength, but okay, but you still got 8 out of it already. So I don't know. This is the guy, and he's actually an epic. So if you're just wanna run a budget Scoia'tael, I think he's your guy. Maybe it's just gonna be a stand-up guy on its own. I'm like only really bad if you get him last round. But in a normal game, you get to see like 12 cards, 12 out of your 13 cards, unless you extra do have extra draws. So your chance that you gotta get him last is low. And you might just thin your deck and maybe get him even sooner. I'm like, if you're just obviously you don't want to do your draws last. Of course, if you do your draws last, then you might get more screwed in general. But I don't know. I think this guy could be really good. Of course, he's not interesting. He's just power, but like 16 power is not bad. I could see use. I mean, for the same reason Regis saw use. Like, if people use Regis, who is a 6 strength and a 10 strength later, then Zoltan Chivai, who is a 8 strength gold and an 8 strength gold later, I can most definitely see use. So yes, I expect to see him unless he's replaced by more important cards, key cards. He's just good points. And Barclayer's ability no longer affects gold units. Okay, so he doesn't get buffed by the dwarf buffer Barclayer's. That makes him separate from him, so you don't have to. That makes him more generally useful. Yorvet can no longer target gold units, so that's just a nerf to Yorvet. Breed Sapper is now changed to 4 to 8, and ability is now ambush, triggered after 2 turns. Yeah, if you might wanna combo it with ambush cards. It doesn't look too interesting to me. Your opponent might just get I don't know, confused what the hell you're doing. But you can also get screwed, because if you play Breed Sapper and if your opponent passes, and then you're screwed. You gotta play another card, and it takes time for the Breed Sapper to reveal itself, and you can get screwed by it. So I wouldn't necessarily say he's really good, unless you want to run him with really ambush synergy, but I'm pretty sure the ambush synergy is pretty bad. So the Doblatana Trapper now deals 5 damage to adjacent units when revealed, positioning, so only adjacent. That's gonna be a lot harder to pull off. Milva, and actually your opponent just can place a gold unit next to it, so negating its strength. Milva, strength changed from 7 to 8. A small nerf to Milva, she's still weakish. Italy now lets you choose 3 adjacent units unlocks or unlocks non-gold units among them. Positioning. Fair enough. So yeah. Should make Itlin a lot better, depending on how valuable locking will be. But, wait a second, now lets you choose 3 adjacent units, unlocks or unlocks non-gold units among them. So she can only affect non-golds. So no fancy business against the golds. Again, it depends on how special gold, bronze cards there will be. Your target can now also target units on your side. Really? Okay, nice. Hulker support strength change from 3 to 6, so that's a lot better. Hulker support buff value change from 3 to 2. So yeah, you need to play like at least 2 buffs to maybe make it work. But you probably don't want to buff up too high, because you're just gonna get screwed. And the Hulker support is a siege only, so you can't really separate it that much. So if your opponent's gonna run D-Bomb, and if your opponent runs the Mardrem, you can get screwed. Malena base strength changed from 6 to 8. I don't know how much of a difference it will make. Your with his range, doesn't really matter. Glaze changed to siege. Isengrim changed to range. Italian changed to range. It doesn't really matter, the position of the cards doesn't really matter, unless they get turned back. Yorvet is also 7 strength, so he's a 13 pointer. Nah, I don't know. I mean, compared to Drog, who's a 7 point and hits for 7, I'm like, Yorvet is a joke. Vernon Roche is a joke. I'm like, The only advantage is that you can target units on your side. But you rarely want to do that. I suppose it's the situational counter to cows, for example. But other than that, it's not too much. But that just makes Werner Rouge even less appealing. And Triss is just complete garbage. I'm sorry, Triss. Cog Carcass spawned by Rotasser now triggers at the end of the second round after appearing. Now that is a colossal nerf, because Cog Carcass used to trigger at the start of their round, and they only had one turn to react. They had one turn, then it was triggering at the start of the next turn, and it was just brutal. You could just play Weather and the entire row died. It was just really, really brutal. Now they can just place a unit next to the cow, and whenever they want, and even just a really crap one. And that's just enough to defend the other guy. Ox got buffed by 1, same locking. Joachim the Vet now buffs the unit he plays before it is placed on the battlefield. That's actually a big nerf. Because previously how it was is that... Wait, before it placed on the battlefield? Yes. Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, that's a big nerf, because, for example, if Joachim got out the guy in Weather, like, for example, just got out the Nilfgaardian Knight, then Nilfgaardian Knight went in the Weather, got dropped by 10 points, then got buffed by 8. Now, with this change, Joachim will get out the Nilfgaardian Knight, and the Nilfgaardian Knight will get buffed up to 19, then get placed into Weather, then your opponent acts, then he's gonna ping him down, then you're gonna cry. Exactly in that order. Then he's gonna laugh at you, and now you're gonna pass. So that's a big nerf. Black Infantry Arbalest strength changed from 5 to 4. Yeah, I believe it's for more as well. Nausicaa Standard Bearer now buffs adjacent units. Positioning, same thing as the Hawker Healer. It's a 4-pointer that buffs adjacent ones by 3. Cantorella base strength changed from 6 to 12. And loses 6 base strength when not spying. It's kind of the same thing. Emperor Enforcer ability now triggers before the leader ability is resolved. Right. Interesting. Emperor Enforcer didn't see much play because they are heavily buff based, and I very much suspect that won't change in this meta. Spotter changed to ranged. I mean, like, that is just I don't know if it's just counts as a kick in the teeth, because Spotter were brutally dead. The real Nilfgaard is so freaking dead, I can't even begin to describe it. It is just beyond dead. And putting the spotters on the range row, which is actually the worst row to be on, because you might just end up facing a fog spamming monster who actually likes spamming the fog, because if they play a fog, they just thin their deck by 3 the first time around, and they actually just get out 6 power. And 6 power is not too bad for a bronze, and especially for the extra bonus of screwing your opponent, that's a pretty good deal. So, Emperor Enforcers and Spotters, like, come on, don't make me laugh. And also, Spotters and Emperor Enforcers have most of their strength in green buffs. And Spotters also have, unlike Emperor Enforcers, just as an extra kick in the teeth, Spotters also have the same strength. So you can just play 3 Spotters and they get burned at the same time. I mean, I can't even begin to describe how garbage they are. Like, they are just really bad. I mean, like, even if they would be garbage. I'm like, they're just complete garbage. I mean, like, there's nothing to talk about here. And also, you need to play reveal cards along them. And the only reveal cards that are not garbage in the game are the Nilfgaardian Knights and Cynthia. That's it. And in the next patch, Kahir as well. We're gonna get to him. And that's it. Other reveal cards, complete garbage. Forget about it. So, spotters, I mean, like, don't even get me started. Like, I guess I already got started on them, but this is just a taste of how bad they are. Lato now banishes units within 2 spaces, so potentially he gets rid of 4, but he can't hit golds, and you can maybe hide your big guys by spreading them out. So it is potentially a buff. If he faces 4 units he can banish, but it's nerf in most cases. Imperial Brigade buffs value change from 3 to 2, and that's usually, and actually can be, it works differently too. Imperial Brigade now also gets buffed when you play a spying unit after the brigade is already on the board. And honestly, it's mostly gonna work out as a nerf, because playing the Imperial Brigades later wasn't that hard. Of course, you can also use them as openers, but green strength again will be really hard to pull off in the next patch. So, I don't know. Because the ambassadors, for example, give you 12 green strength as well. I don't know how good spies will be. Which is basically saying that I'm pretty sure that they're gonna be bad. So I don't have much hope for this guy. Not that he was awesome before. He's kind of okay. He's kind of okay right now. He's more reliable, but he's less of a powerhouse. You can't just like slam him down late and like, yeah, I have 28 strength, but nah. Okay, that's fine. Assassination no longer does any damage to your units. Yeah, Assassination got buffed big time. So if you're looking for a good epic in Nilfgaard, Assassination is definitely a card you can, epic gold, you can run. It'll be okay. When Cantor draws a card you not selected, if you want to keep it. Oh. So I gotta pay attention to that. Carrier ability change, now you reactivates all your leader's ability and lets your opponent draw a revealed bronze card. It does nothing if your opponent has passed. So it's not too bad because the hero ability is a lot better than a bronze. Especially not of course Emir. Come on, don't even get me started on that garbage. Whew! Revealing 3 cards? I'm like, don't make me laugh. Emir is so bad. But Morven and Calvate, like they can really do something with their hero powers. And if your opponent doesn't have a bronze card anymore, it actually says revealed bronze card, so it's not a bronze unit, it's just a revealed bronze card. So if you play Kahir late and your opponent likes thinning their deck, they might not even have a bronze card, so that would be cheesy, but just saying. He does nothing if your opponent has passed, so you gotta pay attention to that. So you gotta play it soonish, but if you play him last turn, he might not have a bronze card if he's a really thinning deck. Just something to keep in mind. And if you play him early, you might just give him a bronze card and improve his further draws. But if you play him late, then you will not improve his further draws by giving him a bronze card because he has no further draws. Just something to keep in mind. So playing him late is still kinda good. Cynthia ability does nothing if your opponent has passed. Same thing with Outbreak. I'm not a huge fan of this. I would rather prefer if the approach was that anything like that, like wakes up your opponent instead, so they can act with the card they have instead of you just can't play your card like that. Vatir changed from 7 to 8, irrelevant. Of course you can play him for the 4 reveals, but the reveals itself, you reveal 2 and they reveal 2, so that's basically your. Would you ever play that card in itself? You would never play that, that's complete garbage. So you're just playing it for the reveals, but the reveal cards are also weaker on their own, and you play Vatir, he does not even give you any value with the reveals, so like what are we even talking about here? Reveal is so freaking dead. I mean, it's not even close to being viable. Imperial Brigade now also gets buffed when you play a spying unit after the brigade is already on the board. Yeah, that's what we talked about. Emissary now also draw the top 2 bronze units in your deck. You play one and shuffle the other into your deck. That's a big thing. So you can actually, just theoretically speaking, you can throw out key units like the Mangonos, but of course reveal is complete garbage, just worth saying. And this will actually help out the spy decks to possibly get away with running more situational units like the Vicovaro medics. Maybe not full, like free Vicovaro medics, but you can probably get away with like one or two at least. Possibly free, but you're a bit risking it there. You can definitely add at least one. Fake series strength change from 3 to 6. That's a huge buff. But possibly hugely unimportant, because she would still take a long time to gain value from. So you throw her in, she becomes a 7, then it's your turn and she's an 8, and so in 3 turns she would be a 12 pointer. And that's the base. So you would 4 turns would need to pass for 14 points. Where you would say like, okay, Fake Series is doing something, but of course she can get lasered, she can get decoyed, and that is just really sad. You definitely don't want that. Actually, she can get locked as well. I'm pretty sure she can get locked. Locked to stick around. That would, well, maybe it would still make her a spy, but would disable her ability, forcing the use of a treason on her. So Rot does her strength change from 4 to 6. Yeah. But it's not gonna be as ridiculous anymore. You just throw in the Rot and they have a lot of time to react, do something about that. And they're probably gonna be just fine. Overall, I would say I like the change, as much as it pains me to say it, because Rot to Serve was too cheesy before. The fact that it activates at the end of your opponent's turn had to happen. That is just no way around that. And by making him a 6 strength, he's kinda okay. You're like, you play him, the cow, even if the cow kills like something, you know, even if he kills a 3 strength guy, of course, it's a bit of a delay to it, but even if he kills a 3 strength guy, I mean like, it's kinda okay. Of course you can play like knights and whatnot, but you know, it's kinda okay. Rotus is kinda okay. Maybe it would be more enticing if your opponent had more turns to act. Like, more enticing if he had less turn to act. Like, only 1 turn like before, but the cow would still activate at the end of their turn. Assassination now only locks its target. Huh. So that's really good. So you can kill someone and lock them. Lock them and kill them. That's the important order. And Tigor Egabrak now makes your opponent draw the top bronze card in their deck. It is only good if your opponent doesn't have a bronze card, because if they do, they're gonna draw that bronze card and you're gonna have a 22 point gold, but they're gonna have a bronze card that is worth about 9 to 11 points and an extra card on you, so they may just act last and you're gonna get royally screwed. So Tibor, still complete garbage. Clan the Moonpire Captain is now buffed when you discard the unit that is in your deck, and or on the battlefield. That's nice, but I'm pretty sure that it's a ranged unit, so it gets completely screwed over by Foglets. Donar Unhinder ability change to immune to weather. Draw a card, you may keep it or discard it and draw another card. So it's a bit of a nerf to him. Restoration no longer resurrects permadeath units. That's a good change. Herald the Cripple now deals 2 damage to all opposing non-gold units. That's a nerf to Herald. And yeah, I don't know. Herald wasn't... We just have to see. He's an okay leader. He can definitely get some value out of him. But King Bram was pretty dominant recently, and Harold basically saw no play. Clan Heimei Scald now buff adjacent units positioning. Same thing, but he's actually better. War Longship now triggers only when units are discarded. So a huge nerf to the Longship. Clan Thor Darok's Armor Smith now resets weakened units within 4 spaces to the left positioning. So yeah, I'm like, it's a little bit worse, but still awesome. Lord Undvik now counts the token, whatever. Hemdall now has a fleeting tank. Okay. Hemdall now counts as a token, spawn unit. Rodan Revive now is fleeting. This is basically pretty irrelevant. Drummond Shield Maiden copies are now played to the right of the original positioning. That's fine. Ogre Blackhand strength change from 4 to 6. Okay. That should make him a lot better. I'm not too familiar with Skellige units though. So Wildboard will see strength change from 6 to 8 and it hits for 3 to 1. So it's yeah, I don't know. It does damage 3 times, so that's synergizes with damage. You can also target your side of the board. That's always a thing for Skellige, so you have to keep in mind. War Longship also has less strength. Werner Brand, he gives away less points, but you discard 1 less. So, well, you gotta count that one. Ceres is now buffed by Queensguard even when locked, whether she's in the graveyard or on the battlefield. That is odd. Why? Her ability is disabled, right? That's just inconsistent. I don't agree with that. Morvar got a little nerfed. Double thumbs up for that. Django Fat, strength change from 6 to 8. Okay. That's the discard 1 guy from your deck. Clan Crate Warriors now lose 1 strength instead of 2 when played. So you can actually, the guy who you start with and no one remembers his name, can drop 2 of these and you can get 16 power out of them. And these Clan Crate Warriors will be a lot valuable. Self-wounding. At very least, the guy who started will be just put out a lot of strength. Berserker Marauder, strength change from 4 to 7. Yeah, these Marauder self-wounding thing is like that weak benefit from weekends. Well, maybe we'll see some use in the next patch. Raging Berserker, 4 to 6, and Raging Bear, strength change from 8 to 11. So if the Raging Berserker gets hit, it's transformed into a Raging Bear. So that's kind of good, no? Is that the tank? I'm pretty sure that is. Yeah. Queensguard strength change from 2 to 3. I don't know. These can get easy to get stolen, so possibly not the best. King Brand no longer buffs the units he discards. I think the only problem with these kind of strategies that like Nilfgaard might really screw them over with the Vikavaru medics, and the Griffins really screw them over as well. And yeah, I don't know if that Skellige will ever be a thing. At least like this. So look like that's about it. These are fixes. Hopefully they include what we need, but I'm not gonna read them. Anyway, that's it. That's the whole patch log. So it didn't change a whole lot since the last time I saw it. That looks promising, interesting. So they definitely want to crash down on the multi-rule weather, but that won't really do a whole lot to the single rule weather. And not really sure about the value of Skellige, but it can get really screwed over by Nilfgaard. Reveal decks will be still complete garbage. Spies probably gonna be complete garbage because they are very much buff based. Morven should be okay, but shouldn't be too ridiculous. Scoia'tael, well, their power level will be a little bit weaker. I mostly expect to see a lot more monsters because of Drog. I expect to see a lot more Drog. Zoltan Shiva, I definitely expect to see this guy. see some play. Of course, the Saskia is just ridiculous, so she's gonna see play even with the 7 strength. She's like a truck. Succubus. I expect to see a lot more monsters. Oh, look at this. I don't know if we're gonna see a lot of gals. Dagon probably. Eddie maybe. I don't know. I don't expect a lot of Nitro because the White Warriors are just complete garbage. So you gotta use the Riders and the Carantir and Eredin and Imralit, and that's it. So is that worth it? Like obviously you do the most with the Riders. So I don't know. Northern Realm, I definitely expect to see more of these guys. Dijkstra could, with the guaranteed gold that you draw into, could be a great combo with like Triss Butterfly, Trisbot, or just Siri, just to get them at the right time. And if you run them with cards that just like Taylor or Johnny, you can make sure that they are not really dead. And this just made the... And looks like the bronzes from Nilfgaard won't be just as a way to like thin into your more valuable cards, but you can actually just play them for power. You can just slam down the infantries for 9 power and try to resurrect them with the field medic. That's 13 power from a bronze. That's pretty good. But of course, it's not really about thinning, it's just power. And you're probably not gonna see a whole lot of it in the first turn, so you just have to rely on it in the following turns. Looks good. Anyway, guys, I believe that's it. So I don't know. Tell me in the comments. What the hell? Looks awesome. When I started making this video, the patch was not out. Maybe it's out now. Who knows? I definitely want to see what you guys think about it, and possibly what's gonna be the MVP of this patch. What's gonna be the most interesting way to play, and I don't know. Is Review on Nilfgaard as crap as I believe it is? I mean, come on. You would probably say it's even worse, and you would be probably right. Anyway, that's it. Hope you guys had fun, and see you around.